Hello and welcome to the RotoWire Fantasy Soccer Podcast brought to you by So Rare. Are you looking for NFTs that are both fun and actual utility? Try So Rare, the largest NFT-based fantasy game. You can collect, trade, and compete with officially licensed digital cards and soccer players from over 180 clubs on So Rare. That's SORARE.com. I am Adam Zdroik, a soccer editor, the soccer editor at RotoWire, joined by Chris Owen, a writer at RotoWire. This is Kits and Wagers. I gotta get that out there as well. We're talking Gameweek 9 here. Chris, welcome to the show. Tell us about your kit and how do you feel about Liverpool right now?
A lot of questions there. Last one was a loaded question. Thanks, Adam. I'm doing well. It's nearly the weekend here. First and foremost, doing great. Liverpool playing well. Tuesday was an awesome match. Get a win over Atletico in Madrid is always good. So I feel pretty good about them. But they got a big one this week. It doesn't get any bigger than Manchester United Liverpool. So my kit here, I'm actually running this one back for specific reasons. But it's the Jimi Hendrix Seattle Sounders kit. For a couple of reasons here is the big weekend of soccer here in Seattle. We've got first and foremost, a little probably underrated here is University of Washington will be hosting Oregon State tomorrow night at 5 p.m. Washington happens to be the number 1 ranked team in the nation. Oregon State is number 8. So a little college soccer there for you, kind of off the beaten path, and certainly not one we're talking about from a betting perspective, but still a fun game. And then the other game here this weekend is noon 30 on the West Coast. Seattle Sounders are hosting Sporting KC. And so I'm excited for that. Big weekend for me. Going to hit up a couple soccer matches. And Seattle sitting top of the Western Conference table right now. And then Sporting second, I believe, just like 6 points off. So it should be a big match and a big weekend of soccer here in the Pacific Northwest.
You got a big weekend ahead. Yeah, I gotta say, I did used to work at Sporting Kansas City, so we are rivals this weekend.
Definitely.
I don't watch a ton of MLS, but SKC, they are my MLS team. If I ever have a chance or ever want to watch MLS. But for me, I don't know if this is actually a kit. I think it's technically a shirt, maybe a warm up. I just found this last year in the Wolves. I don't know, the shop online at the end of the season. They're running some kind of sale and looks pretty cool. So that's what I'm
Yeah,
sporting today.
that's a
Uh,
sharp looking. What is that, like a training top? But they probably
yeah,
wear those in the what would you call it, like a training game? So
yeah,
yeah,
like
that
a
definitely
scrimmage or
counts.
something. It might. I mean, it's
Yeah.
like I can barely feel this thing. It's super light, so you got to feel like they wear this for something. I don't know, but yeah, I mean, it looks cool enough. Third kit kind of thing. But
Definitely.
so looking back at last week, so I hit my best bet. It was both teams not to score between Leeds and Southampton. The game didn't really go how I expected it to go, but I can't really complain. The bet hit, so Leeds were actually dominated, and I don't know what that. I don't know what the stats ended up being, but I think Southampton probably had like 25 shots to 5 for Leeds, and I'll probably mention that later. Just the Leeds injury issues are really a major problem for him, and it probably will continue to be a problem.
Yeah, that,
As
that
for
was actually a
Chris,
really good. That was a super good game to watch. Honestly, just not. There's a couple other games going on at that time, like Leicester and Man United, but that one was specifically just fun to watch from a just a soccer tactical perspective.
yeah, it was all of Nathan Redmond and Armando Broja. Uh, I just these guys that even without James Ward-Prowse, like Southampton, they dominated the match, and the absence of Calvin Phillips is definitely looming large. Needless to say, for Leeds. And the word from Marcelo Bielsa this morning is that Phillips is training, but he probably won't play on Saturday. So there's another game without Phillips that it's going to be an issue for Leeds. But Chris's best bet last week didn't work out as planned, but we still hit the other things we talked about. Um,
Yeah,
going through the list.
I had Brighton to win plus 100 against Norwich, which looking back, it seemed like the right move. But a
That's
couple other
correct
things.
in theory.
Yeah, yeah. Again, here I'm stating my process is good, my results are bad. So maybe I got to go look at the process. But yeah, that one didn't hit, but that's okay. There was the under hit, which we mentioned. Under 1.5 was plus 205. It was a nil-nil draw. So, and then under 2.5 also hit, obviously, and that was minus 135. And then if you really were listening and you got out there and you hit the nil-nil draw at plus 900, well, that was a nice day. So, not all bad here, but would have loved to get that plus 100 in Brighton. Like, come on, guys.
Yeah,
It's
I mean,
Norwich lads. Come on.
I wasn't really watching that match, but just
For
like
obvious
just
reasons.
based off the stats though, like it looked pretty even though. Just
Yeah.
like there wasn't great chances, but Brighton, I'd say definitely just disappointed in terms of getting better chances than Norwich. Norwich, they played their 5-man back line again, and they they got their point. I guess that's all they're gonna do. They're gonna play for these draws because they can't score. So I mean, I
Yeah.
guess that's their strategy going forward. And I don't know what to say about that, but I guess good luck trying to get stay in the Premier League.
They're a bad team. That's what we can say.
Yeah, I mean, like we're both USA, Josh Sargent and everything, but I don't know if Sargent is the answer in the Premier League. I mean, he
Yeah.
wasn't that good in Bundesliga, so I'm not sure how he's getting these consistent starts for them up front right now.
Yeah. A couple other things that hit last week were the anytime. I kind of got into the anytime goal scoring odds. Of course, Mo Salah once again scored. I'll get into that in a little bit, but he was minus 120. Jamie Vardy scored at plus 110, and then our Harry Kane finally opened his goal scoring account at plus 110 as well. So a couple anytimes to keep an eye on. A little bit different this weekend, but those are a couple other things that we mentioned that hit.
Yeah, so I guess we got a standalone game here. I'll pull up the odds. We got the standalone game, as you can see on the betting page at rotowire.com. For the soccer section here, we got all this betting stuff. Put up the article, Game Week 9 preview. But the standalone game Friday, Arsenal are home against Aston Villa. I'm going to leave this one to you because Aston Villa is on my do not bet list. Actually, I will say last week, we talked about Everton and Villa being on my do not bet list. I put both of them in my article for who knows why.
Love it.
Both those bets didn't didn't happen, and then Arsenal is starting to be on my do not bet list after they just gave away two bad balls, and Palace just got 2 goals off of two bad passes, two mistakes for Arsenal on Monday, and now it looks like Saka is going to be out for them. He's got a calf issue. And any thoughts on this match? Arsenal minus 105 home at Villa, plus 300 on the money line there.
All of a sudden, Arsenal are unbeaten in 5. After I kind of put them through the ringer a little bit. So Arsenal minus 105 against a pretty decent. I mean, Aston Villa haven't played particularly well, but they've got the power to do it. So I wouldn't. This is a stay away for me as well. The one thing that I would note is. And these aren't great odds, but the over 2.5 goals is minus 120. Aston Villa have been in games in their last 7 of 8 away matches. Each game has had over 2.5 goals, so kind of interesting there. But the odds are not that great.
Yeah, I mean, I like the over just on looking at the teams, looking at the game, but
Yeah.
then you got Villa, and I'm not sure how to bet them right now because there's not a ton of game action with what they're running a 3-5-2. I guess last game it was 3-4-1-2 because they put Buendia in at attacking midfield. So they've got these different formations, and just looking at last year's results, it was similarly uh, hard to project. Actually, Villa won both games, so maybe it wasn't that hard to project. Villa won at Arsenal 3-0, and then they won home 1-0. So I guess if you got a thing for Villa here, I mean, I don't. Arsenal didn't look too great against Palace, so if you believe in Danny Ings and Ollie Watkins up front, plus 300 on the money line isn't a terrible bet there. But that's enough for Arsenal, our Arsenal and Mikel Arteta talk. So Saturday, it's kind of you got the big favorite in Chelsea minus 525 against Norwich, and then it's a little bit of hit or miss for that the main slate, the 4 game slate there. Nothing really stands out. Everton are the biggest favorite in those, minus 155 against Watford. And then the last game Saturday, Manchester City minus 250 at Brighton. What pops out to you first look here?
I'd say what doesn't pop out to me, and that's the Chelsea Norwich game. Those are some long odds. But interesting enough about that one, though, is that Norwich have drawn their last 2 games all of a sudden. So that's at plus 650. I don't think they get it done, but those are pretty crazy odds to look into. Um, One thing that I am interested in is Brighton Man City draw at plus 400. Brighton right now, one of 4 teams in their last 5 to be unbeaten. They have, although they drew Norwich last city, they've played everyone pretty tough. They're in the top 4 right now. This is technically a top 4 matchup, so that the draw odds there are kind of interesting, and that's plus 400. So just something to note.
Yeah, that. So when I was writing my article, I looked at this Chelsea match. Like you said, I didn't really like it because it was. I guess I don't know what it is at this point, but it was minus 165 for Chelsea to win in a shutout. Like no one should take those odds. Those are terrible odds for the off chance Timo Pukki gets something.
Yeah.
But so we throw in Lukaku. Like it looks like 99% chance Lukaku's going to be out. Werner's going to be out. So kind of undecided on how their Chelsea's actually going to look here. Mount is in there. Hudson-Odoi is an option to start. Havertz is an option to start. Maybe Ziyech comes in there, but just considering the way that Chelsea play, they're gonna aim for the clean sheet, and I think that's pretty good likelihood they get the clean sheet. But Norwich, like we just said, they're playing super defensive. Five defenders. The under 2.5 goals is plus 130 right here, which seems pretty good. Like, is it not realistic to suggest Chelsea without a couple of their top strikers, their top striker in Lukaku? Um, why can't this match finish 1-0, 2-0, under 2.5 goals plus 130? It seems like a pretty reasonable bet there.
Yeah, I'm totally with you there. I mean, Chelsea, Big Rom has 3 goals. Chalobah has 2 goals. Chilwell has 2 goals. And then the rest of their team has 1 goal. So they're gonna be missing all their attacking firepower. No one has really popped off to it in the Premier League, at least, other than Lukaku, who's like, oh yeah, I'll go and score a goal for you guys. Besides Chilwell, who's started, 2 of their 9 games now, or 2 of their 8
Yeah.
games. So it's like they haven't shown to any of us that beyond Lukaku that they can go out and score goals. So I think you're absolutely on point there.
There is a chance, Chaloba, you said he has those 2 goals. Maybe they just put him central striker. He's just in there heading balls in or something. 5-0. Chaloba 4 goals.
Yeah, just like in the Champions League yesterday when Thiago Silva assisted Andres Christensen for their first goal. It's like they're just getting all the it's the Thomas Tuchel way, I guess, is score out of the
Yeah.
back.
Yeah, I wasn't a favorite of that one in terms of DFS,
Yeah,
but
no,
everything
not at
else
all.
here Saturday, I kind of like. Yeah, I kind of like some overs here. Crystal Palace, Newcastle, Watford, Everton. I like some overs there. And then I like some unders. Burnley, Southampton, and Leeds home. So I don't know if we just going to mention it here. So Bamford's still out. Phillips is still out. Firpo is going to be out. They're pretty much going to have the same lineup as last week, except for Rafinha. So put Rafinha in. They're plus 155 home against Wolverhampton. Wolverhampton kind of tricky. What is it? Last week they're down 2-0 to Villa, and then they came back and won 3-2. I believe that was on the road. Either way, I don't know. I don't think you can bet at any point on Leeds without Phillips. So do you think, Wolverhampton plus 190 is in play to win, or maybe something a little safer like a draw no bet I'm not sure on the odds on that, but it's probably around plus 100 for him.
Yeah, you mentioned Wolves to win. I mean, they are a team that's playing pretty well. They won 4 of 5. I forget who the loss was to. Maybe that was that Manchester United? I can't quite remember, and I don't want to give out the wrong information here. But they've won 4 of 5. Plus 190 is pretty good odds. Leeds have been a team who have obviously shown us that they are dealing with injuries, and when they are missing big players like Calvin Phillips, like they can't really get it done. AKA last weekend. So yeah, I would absolutely consider Wolves at plus 190 this weekend.
Yeah, so Wolves 4 of their last 5. It hasn't been the toughest competition, and their one loss was home against Brentford when Brentford got 2 goals in the first half. But like you said, I mean, they're healthy. I think that's the main thing. They're getting Trincao back from COVID-19, so he's going to be an option again. Maybe he won't start, but whatever. Like I said, plus 100 draw no bet for Wolves. I think that's a pretty good look. I mean, if it's a draw, get your money back, so be it. But yeah, plus 190 to win is a pretty good bet there. So Sunday, we're going to be speaking on I guess we're going to be speaking on Brentford, Leicester, and Liverpool, Manchester United are best bets. But I kind of like the over between Tottenham and West Ham. Just uh, just overall, Tottenham's back line, can't really rely on them. And in terms of West Ham, they've been kind of more defensive lately, but the combo of Harry Kane and Son Heung-min, they're playing better. I mean, they're scoring more than they were earlier in the season. I guess we could say their defense is not better. But uh, any thoughts on that match? West Ham home plus 145 to beat Tottenham, who are plus 200.
Yeah, the over goals is there's not a ton of value there, but I think the over 2.5 is minus 125, so not great there. But I could see this being another one of those West Ham. West Ham seems like they're always involved in games where there's been quite a bit of goals, at least this season. And as you mentioned, Tottenham's back line, nothing to go out and celebrate. But yeah, I would take West Ham here, even though I don't believe the odds are anything crazy, but over 3.5 goals minus 195 or plus 195. Over 2.5 is, as I mentioned, minus 125. So those are the two things I would look at, just because neither Tottenham's not particularly good defensively.
Yeah, I guess looking at that minus 125, that's probably my cutoff. I mean,
Yeah,
it's not. That's just my personal cutoff of doing single bets minus 125. Because then once you're getting to minus 130, minus 140, it's like there's not a ton of return in there, and
yeah,
that's probably not a sharp way to look at things. It's probably a bad way to look at things. But when you're only getting a certain amount of money on minus 140 bets, like, I just don't see a major reason to take something with those lines. But
yeah.
so the other match here, let's get into your best bet. We got Manchester United home underdogs plus 205, Liverpool plus 130. If you want the over 2.5 goals, that's minus 156. So the bookmakers are looking for goals here, and I believe so are you.
Yeah. I mean, as a fan of the game, I'm always looking for goals. But yeah, I'm just gonna get into my best bet right away here. But best bet here, I've in recent weeks here, it's been a little bit of a struggle. I've been referencing a bet that I has hit every time, every week we've talked about it, and that's Mo Salah to score. So not the most creative here, but considering the fact that I think 3 of the last 4 weeks he's been plus. Last week he was minus odds. I think it was minus 160 to score. This week he's plus 135 to score against Manchester United. Manchester United in their past, haven't been great defensively. In their past, I think it's 8 games, they've let up 5, or they've in the games there's been 5 goals, 3 goals, 3 goals. 1 goal, 3 goals, 2 goals, and then 6 and 5 in their last 2 games. That's including last weekend's 4-2 loss to Leicester City, and then the 3-2 win the other day against, was that
Atalanta.
yeah, yeah, Atlanta. So I think plus 135 here for Mo Salah. The man is in just insane form currently. He's scored in 10 of 11 matches. He's got 10 goals, 4 assists in his past 11 games. And if he scores on Sunday in the big game against Manchester United, he will have scored in his 10th straight match. So I think just looking at the fact that he's plus odds, which I would not have expected given his current form, I think I'm just going to go with that as my best bet, and just hopefully raking some cash.
Yeah, so I feel like, I feel like you've mentioned this in every podcast for the last month here,
Yep.
and you haven't taken it as your best bet. I don't want to say this is going to be funny, but how funny would it be if you didn't score? Now that's
Yeah.
your best bet.
No, I would love that. That would be about more of the same. So um,
I
we'll
mean,
see
it'd
what
be
happens.
funny if, for you if I don't know, Jota, Mane, they both brace or something, and everyone scores.
Like five,
Liverpool
five,
gets 5
three.
goals. None of
Yeah,
them are Salah. Yeah.
yeah. He has like a hat trick of assists.
Yeah, that would be tough. Um, I, so just still looking at that game, so last week, I don't know if I mentioned it on here or where it was, maybe it was the article, but I ended up taking over 4.5 goals between Manchester United and Leicester at plus 350. That one, like you said, ended 4-2. And do you think this game has the chances of being one of those 3-2, 4-2, all these goals kind of matches? I mean, Liverpool away from home, just given uh, if Manchester United are back in form after scoring 3 goals on Wednesday, these teams are both flying right now up front, and Man United back line, I'm not sure Harry Maguire is 100% right now. He returned early from that calf injury, but over 4.5 goals, over 5.5 goals. Do you have any thoughts on taking a big bet on one of those?
This is going to sound like a huge homer, but it's tough for me to like if that's going to be the case. It might be Liverpool winning, by a larger margin of goals. Like they've only conceded 6 goals in what is it, 8 matches so far. So it's like they've been good. The way
Well, they gave up 3 at Brentford, though.
Brentford's a different beast. We've seen that. But that's half the goals that they let up this season, So like I don't really think that if we're gonna see a four, I guess it could be 4-2, but that would be the Manchester United back line is poor. We like they're just not that good. They're not they've been conceding goals at a pretty rampant pace. 2 goals, 4 goals. They drew Everton 1-1, but
All right, so
yeah, I
let me
think
look at this. So Brentford 3 goals. They gave up 1 at Porto. They gave up 2 to Manchester City. Then they played Watford. Then they just gave up those 2 to Atletico. I don't know. You know,
and no, I mean to in the Premier League, they've let up 6 goals total. You said 2 to Manchester City, one of the best attacking sides in the Premier League. The other 3 were in a crazy draw to Brentford. So I mean, in the other was that other 6 games, I've conceded 1 goal. So I mean, I guess if we want to look at those over goals, then certainly. And what you said +3.5 was 150, +4.5 was +340. So if you really want to get crazy, then go for it. I just don't know if we're going to see 5 goals out of this game.
fine. Don't bet this. Uh,
You certainly
look,
can. And of the two of us, Adam's had a bit more success. So, let's go to the voice of reason over there.
looking at last season's results, I know this isn't the same. Van Dyke and Matip, Matip. How do you say that guy's name?
Matip?
Matip. So last season, 4-2 at Man United. Liverpool won. This was in May, so one of the last games of the season. Then they played in the FA Cup in January. Manchester United won 3-2. So you can take into that account, or you can take Chris's logic and thinking they're playing better than they were last season, so they're just not going to allow the same amount of goals, which is reasonable. And I'm not sure Manchester United, they got those 3 goals, but I wouldn't say they're back in form and he's ready to get a hat trick or anything like that. So I do think the return of Rashford is definitely a boost, but he went off with a dead leg yesterday, so I'm not sure he's actually going to start in Sunday's game. But
Yeah. The big difference though is who was starting for Liverpool in those matches last spring. It was like Nat Phillips, Ozan Kabak, maybe Reese Williams versus Virgil van Dyke, Joel
Are you trying
Monty.
to bash Ozan Kabak, the
I'm,
Norwich
I'm
City uh, best center back in the league?
backup
Come on.
center back, maybe. Is he? I
Back-to-back clean sheets? Are you kidding me right now? Oh, is he not playing?
I
Yeah,
got to
no, he's
keep my
not
mouth
playing.
shut. I can't diss on the former Schalke man.
All right, I did pull it up. So that 4-2 win at Manchester United, Nat Phillips, Reese Williams got the start. Also of note, Edinson Cavani started. And yeah, I guess that's the main thing there. So Cavani, Ronaldo, yeah, I don't know. Anyways, that's enough on that. Let's get to my best bet here. So it's Brentford, Leicester City match. Brentford plus 170 to win. Leicester City plus 170 to win. Over 2.5 goals is minus 108. So I think this might be one of my favorite bets of the first, how long has it been? 2-3 months. So I'm going Brentford draw no bet. That's minus 110. The last I saw. Yep, still minus 110. So Brentford draw no bet. I wonder if these odds would look different if Brentford would have gotten a point against Chelsea last week and they lost 1-0, and the expected goals in that match, because Chelsea, I think it was they scored in the first half maybe, but Brentford pretty much, I don't know, they hit the post probably 4 or 5 times. They had an expected goals over 2. Chelsea was at like point 0.5 or something like that. I wonder if Brentford got that goal, these odds would look different. And then I wonder, another loss at home, they lost 1-0 to Brighton, and Brighton scored in the final seconds of that. So if you turn some of these results around, they got the 3-3 draw against Liverpool, which we've already mentioned, but you also got the Arsenal. They beat Arsenal 2-0 in the Premier League opener. But anyways, I think Brentford are just playing well. I think that's what it really comes down to. They're at home. It seems like their fans are, super intense, love the team, love the manager. And I think that's just going to lead to more wins throughout the season. I'm not taking the plus 170 just because with what we've seen with Leicester that, they can. It looks like their offense is starting to figure things out, and they can score out of nothing here. And that's kind of the thing that's worrying if you take Brentford money line, just because um, Patson Daka uh, just got 4 goals this past week. He might, or past day, I guess it was Wednesday that he scored those 4 against Spartak Moscow. But speaking of that, so Leicester, they were just in Russia. They're in Russia on Wednesday. They're already allowing a ton of goals. I think the over is a good play in this match, but I also think Brentford's back line is actually playing a little better than Leicester's right now, and they're struggling. And I think Brentford draw no bet minus 110 is the way to go. Maybe this is a 2-2, 3-3 draw. You get your money back, but I don't think you're going to lose this bet if you take Brentford here.
Yeah, I like that. Looks like Frostbite RL in the comments says Brentford is the best team in the Prem. So I think we're going to get out in front of this one and maybe say that this podcast is a Brentford podcast. So big supporters of the Brentford team. But you mentioned Patson Daka, and the man is in form. 4 goals in any match is insane. Like especially in a Europa League match in Russia. Nonetheless. But he scored against Manchester United last weekend, and is in general been like pretty influential when he gets on the pitch. He's taken a ton of shots. So if you're in any season long fantasy formats, like consider that. And if he comes back into the starting 11, definitely a consideration if his price is decent. But like you said, like 5 goals in 2 games is good enough for me to take a bit of some long odds here. His anytime goal scoring is plus 210. So if you really think that this man's going to get it done, then I would consider that. But that's the only thing that I'd note from that. And the other thing being that this is a confirmed Brentford podcast.
Yeah, so I'm just looking at Leicester's results here. So 4-3 in Moscow Wednesday, 4-2 against Manchester United, 2-2 against Crystal Palace when Leicester, they were up to 2-0 in that one. Crystal Palace got 2 more, came back on them. Up and down against Burnley, 2-2 in that match. So like this back line, it's just not cutting it right now, and they can't figure things out. They got Johnny Evans back. He's dealing with his plantar fasciitis, and maybe he's going to start again 3 times in the matter of what, 8 or 9 days. I don't know how good that is going to be for his foot because he's been out about 6 or so months right now. But so if you like this, maybe you don't want to take Brentford to win or draw no bet. You can still look at goals here though. I mean, over 2.5 -108, pretty good odds. You can look at Ivan Toney +150 for Brentford to score, and Buemo +225 to score. Those are the two forwards for Brentford. So I kind of like both those two. I think there's going to be goals. I think Brentford will have the edge, and that's my best bet. But anything else we got to look at here for the weekend?
Yeah, I think you mentioned that all, but yeah, goals in this Leicester City Brentford game. They've let there's been what 6 goals, as you mentioned, 4 goals, 4 goals, 3 goals, 3 goals, 5 goals. Every single Leicester City game is a boatload of goals. So I think you're right in there. Other than that, not a ton else to mention other than my best bet was Mo Salah. So hopefully he scores and we got a good game.
Yeah. All right. Best bet +135. Most solid score at Manchester United -110. Brentford draw no bet home against Leicester City. And I believe that's it for kits and wagers. Game week 9. And I guess I'll run through this. Here we go. Rotowire.com/soccer trial. Free 10-day trial. No credit card required. You can get all of the amazing content at RotoWire. And as usual, if you're watching on YouTube, like and subscribe. Or if you're listening on podcast, please rate and review. Got to get those reviews up. Got to hear the kits and wagers love here as we're going to pile on these best bets and hopefully, start stringing together some winning streaks. Thank you to So Rare for sponsoring. And Chris, I will not be here next week. Chris will be the main guy. Maybe we'll get a special guest appearance. We'll see what happens with that. But Chris, good luck to Liverpool on Sunday. And yeah, enjoy the weekend. You got the big weekend of Seattle Sounders and all that action coming up here.
Yeah, thanks. Go Liverpool, go Sounders. Hopefully the best bets hit and enjoy your trip, Adam.
Thank you. Oh, go SKC.